All right, what is going on? Taking a look at our last main lesson in the any word problems unit, which is the word problems with inequalities. All right, so taking a look at just some word problems that involve less than, greater than, less or equal to, greater than or equal to. We'll talk about those words in a minute. For a quick review, let's see if you can go ahead and solve these two. So try the first one, and then we'll take a look at that answer. So pause it, give it a shot. All right, so for the first one here, hopefully you guys ended up with x is less than or equal to 3. And how we're going to get that is, number one, remember, get the x is on the same side, so we can move the 6x over. End up with negative 17 is greater than or equal to 14x plus 25. Move that 25 to the other side. Okay, negative 42 is greater than or equal to 14x. And then divide out by 14 to get negative 3 is greater than or equal to x. And we can also flip that around. Make sure you change inequality when you switch sides here, when you bring the x over. So x is less than or equal to 3. So as long as you came up with one of these two answers, you're correct on that one. And remember, if you your first move was to move the 8 over, and you ended up with negative 14x, okay, is greater than or equal to 42. When you divide by negative 14, you have to make sure we flip the inequality, okay, at this point. So if you ended up with this and you got a greater than or equal to, just make sure that you flip the inequality around. All right, let's try B here. Okay, so once again, for the second one, we're going to make sure we distribute through here. So 6m minus 3 is less than or equal to 4m plus 7. I intentionally got this one to have a negative m, so we can go over that, flip the inequality again. So I'm going to subtract 6m from both sides, okay? And then I'm going to move the 7 back, okay? Divide out by negative 2, and end up with an answer of m is less than or equal to 5. So either 5 is greater than or equal to m, or m is less than or equal to 5 for your final answer on that one. If you move the 4 over to the other side, would have been a little easier too. So just keep that in mind. Would have got 2m is less than or equal to 10 eventually, and then m is less than or equal to 5 after you divided both sides by 2. But I just wanted to focus in on that dividing by a negative here. All right, so the word problems we're going to deal with today are going to be dealing with inequalities. So key things we're going to want to look for is what type of inequality are we using? Are we using less than? Are we using a fewer than? Because that's going to be our less than symbol. Remember, less than points to the left. Okay, greater than, more than, all right, that's our greater than symbol. Okay, now the key things we're going to look for here are the two words at most and at least, because this can kind of get confusing, and it's the opposite of what you think. Like when it's at most something, if you talk about money here, right, would you rather have it most $5 or at least $5, right? We're going to say, I'd rather have at most $5. Nope, that's wrong. I'd rather have at least $5 because it means that I can have five or more. That's our greater than or equal to or more part. Okay. At most means I can only have that much, and I can have a lower, but I can't go higher than that. So that's our less than or equal to. Okay. The other keywords for less than or equal to is no more than, and obviously less than or equal to, or no less than, okay, or greater than or equal to. But the at most and at least are the ones that come up that can be kind of tricky. So let's look at a few examples. So number 3, students in the ninth grade class measured their heights, h, in centimeters. The heights of the shortest students was 155 centimeters, and the height of the tallest student was 190. Which inequality represents the range of heights? Now remember, the shortest student was 155 centimeters. So if we think about a range, right, and we organize people from the smallest to the tallest, right, we'd have 155 down here, we'd have some numbers in between, right? And then we'd end up with 190 up here. All right. Now, are we including 155 or are we not? Right? Since there was a student that was 155, we'd be including it. So we know that we can get rid of 1 and we can get rid of 4. Okay. So are we talking about the numbers that are in between, right? Are and which? Okay. Or are we talking about the numbers that are outside of it? So if we put it on a number line, right, and 155 is here, and 190 is here, we know we're including these numbers. Are we talking about all the people in between, or are we talking about shading this way is the question, right? And hopefully you guys are recognizing that we're talking about if the tallest and the smallest are these two, then it's all the people in between. So this inequality, right, would be 155, okay, less than or equal to h less than or equal to 190. And so we'd want to pick number 2. Okay, so in between those amounts, that's our and which. All right, number 4, Roger's having a picnic for 78 guests. So there's our total. He plans to serve each guest at least, oh, there's our key one, right? Remember, at least. I'd rather have at least $5. Okay, so when we write our inequality, keep in mind what that means. If each package P, so they're giving me the variable, can't use X, we have to use P, contains 8 hot dogs, which inequality will be used to determine how many packets of hot dogs Roger will deliver. So we're going to try to keep our variable on the end. So look at it. Is P greater than or equal to 78? Okay. Now, if you notice, remember we said at least. We'd rather have at least $5. It's the opposite. So even though it says least, we're talking about greater than or equal to simply. Okay. So are we talking about P representing 78? So is the packages, we have at least 78 packages of hot dogs. Does that make sense? Remember, each package contains 8 hot dogs and 78 guests. Okay. And they have at least 1 hot dog. So got to have 78 of them. Is it 8 times P or 8 plus P or 78 minus P? Which one of these would make sense? Each package contains 8 hot dogs. So for instance, if I bought 2 packages, how many hot dogs would it be? Right? How'd you get that amount? So if P, right, and we have the hot dogs. If I have 1 package, right, that means I have 8. If I have 2, I have 16. 3, right, is 3 times 8. This is 2 times 8. Can I get the idea here? So if I have P, I have P times 8 hot dogs. So we know it's going to be 8P, and then greater than or equal to, because it's at least, and then the 78 is the total. So it's going to be choice 2. Okay. All right. See if you guys can try number 5. Now, if you get to a crazy question, like having trouble solving it, you get an answer, oh, that's not it, right? Remember, you can also substitute. There's only 4 possible answers. If it's in the solution set, that means the inequality must be true, okay, when you plug in the number. So another way to solve this besides actually solving the inequality is to plug in the number. So if I did -2 times 0 minus 5, is this less than 4? Right? Is -2 times -5 less than 4? Like, no, this is 10. 10 is not less than 4. So that's out. So you could always plug in to get your answer. Okay? But if we know how to solve, we distribute. -2x plus 10 is less than 4. If we subtract 10, we get -2x is less than -6. And then we divide by -2. We're going to get x is greater than, and we're going to flip the inequality because we divide by -3. So which of these numbers is greater than 3? Don't pick 3. That's not greater than. It's equal to. So it's got to be 5. And notice if you plug it in, -2 times 5 minus 5, is that less than 4? Well, this is really -2 times 0, right? Which is 0. And 0 is less than, I put a 0 there when this is supposed to be a 4, right? 0 is indeed less than 4. And so this does check. It works. So that's how we know that that's an answer. Okay, we're going to try number 6 here, and then I'm going to leave you guys the rest of the video. Okay, your homework video is going to be the play pause it. All right, so we're going to do 6 together. All right, and then go into Have in your Schoology folder and finish up the play pause it video for homework. Here we go. A prom ticket at Smith High School is $120. Tom is going to save money for the ticket by walking his neighbor's dog for $15 per week. If Tom has already saved $22, what's the minimum number of weeks Tom must walk to earn enough money to pay for the prom ticket? So we already know our total. That was 120. Okay. Tom's already saved $22. This is his initial starting amount. We already have this amount before we even begin. Okay. And it's asking me for the minimum number of weeks. Now, there's two things I can tell from this. Number one, I know what my key is now. X is the number of weeks. And I also want to know, did they give me a variable to use? Sometimes they'll say like W, the number of weeks, comma W, then you have to use that letter. Okay? Here they didn't, so we can just make our own key. So number of weeks, all right? I know I'm starting with 120, and I need to have at least this amount, right? It's a minimum amount. So I know that my money on the other side, so the total and the amount of money I have, the money needs to be greater than or equal to the total in order for me to go. Got to have that much. Okay. So now I have 22 to start with. All right. And I'm getting $15 per week. So if if we started with at 0 weeks, I start with 22. So after 1 week, right, how much did I add to that? Well, I added 22 plus 15, right? And at 2 weeks, I added 22 plus, well, there's two 15s, right? 15 times 2. And at 3 weeks, it's 22 plus 15 times 3, right? 45. So do you get the idea here? So after X weeks, it should be 22 plus 15 times X to our total, okay? So now I know it's going to be 22 plus 15x. Now I know that. And now I can solve. So we're going to subtract 22 from both sides. Okay. We're getting 98 less than or equal to 15x. You can divide by that 15. And then we're going to get an amount here. All right. And we end up getting 6.53 repeating. So we know x has to be greater than or equal to this amount. Okay. So if you think about it, and this is the key thing. Now, because been doing this for a little while, I know when they say minimum number of weeks that the chances are that I'm going to get a decimal as an answer. And so what I need to know is the answer going to be bigger than this number or smaller than this number? Does 6 work or does 7 work? Okay. What I'm going to tell you is like plug your answer into your equation and actually see if it works. So we know that we need to have at least that amount. So if I plug in 6, right, 120 less or equal to 22 plus 15 times 6, and we check it, this is 22. Whoops, it's not 22. This is 120, right, which is less or equal to 22 plus 90. So this is 112. And this doesn't work. So we know that 6 is out. Therefore, I know 7 is going to be my answer. Okay? So then we make our statement. Tom must work at least 7 weeks. And if you understand the question and you know that 6 is not going to cover it, you got to work more than this, okay? Then you don't necessarily have to check. But I would just recommend doing that anyways just to make sure. So if we check 6, right, and then we check 7, we'll see that with 7, 22 plus 15 times 7. Whoops, I can already see a mistake there. 120 is equal to, and then we can just plug the whole right side. 22 plus 15 times 7. This is 127. So we can see that this does work. Okay, too small, more than, but I have to work at least 7 weeks to get there. Okay. All right, so let's see if you can do, and you can stop here today for the video. Okay, you can work on 7, 8, and 9, and then take a look at the play pause video and make sure you put your answers as you're going along here. All right, and have a great rest of your day, guys.